Hi, today we are going to look at the yield statement in C# programming. The basic use of yield statement is that within the collection, it returns the next value one after the other using the yield return statement. In some cases where you want to signal the caller that the collection has finished, you can use the yield break. For example, in this logic, what I'm trying to do is, although I have a while to loop, which is a way of saying run indefinitely, it will still not run indefinitely because I am using a yield break based on this condition, which says if I has reached the max value, um, if it is less than or equal to the max value, then continue to return the value. Otherwise, it will return a signal to the caller, which is this for each loop, saying that the collection has finished. So the flow goes like this. So when this loop starts, this method will get called, generate odd numbers. I have given the value of 10 so that it will iterate from 1 to 10, and then when the in gets called, it is basically asking of the very next value. So the moment this gets called, so the control will come here in this part, the while loop, and when we are initializing this with 1, now the I variable I is going to be returned because it is being initialized to 1. It is less than 10. So yield return I will yield the return the value to this statement. So the number will get assigned the value of I. The console will print it. The iteration will go to this closing bracket, and then it will repeat, and the moment it reaches here, it's going to say, hey, give me the next value. When this will get called, in the previous iteration we returned from this, so we did not control this whole iteration in the while loop. So it will come back to this part to say, hey, the caller is asking for a new value, so do this until you go back again. So I is going to be incremented by 2. Now it becomes 3, while the this iteration will finish because this condition will not be executed. So this if block completes while iteration completes, and when this happens, it's going to come back again. Now 3 is less than 10, which is fine, and it will again say yield return I, which is returning the value of 3. The variable number will get assigned the value of 3, it will get printed, and this will keep repeating. So note that this is different than you have already a predefined set of values in a collection, and that you can use a for loop or a while loop to iterate through that collection. So the collection is already available for you, but in this case where you are using IEnumerable of any type, here it is integer, it will return the value using the yield return one by one. As soon as the next value becomes available, when this section of the code calls for another value, it will perform the logic and repeat the same thing again and again. So this is the basic difference between using the IEnumerable of any type versus having a full set of collections ready before iterating over it using any loop. So let's look at the Visual Studio Code and see how it flows. I have already put in some breakpoints, you know, where the controller is jumping to. So we will start it. So from the main program, I'm calling this method. It's just a simple static method. So now for each is starting, and it is asking to call generate odd numbers, which is this method. So let's see, I'm gonna press F10 so that it can go to the next statement. So now we are at this part, and the in is basically saying, hey, I need a value from the method, this method. So it directly calls this method, and we initialize it, and then we say while it is true, we are not checking any condition for the while. Instead, we are explicitly checking the value here in its logic. So we are saying I is currently 1 and it is less than or equal to 10, which is fine. So now we are about to return a value using yield return. So 1 will be returned to this. See, control went back to the in statement because here it was waiting for the value to be returned, and when it got returned, the number gets assigned. You see here, now the number has a value of 1. Then we are printing that number value. Let me show you the console window as well. So here you can see the number got printed. Now the for each loop is going for the next iteration. Again went back to the in. Now in is saying give me the next value. So you see it didn't go to the start of the method because this is where the logic gets controlled within this while loop. So here you go, yield, go back to the in. Now it has the value, it assigns it to the number, it prints it, and once it prints, for loop completes this iteration, and then it goes here. If we also try to put a value, this statement here, to see how when the number gets incremented, let's see that. So after the yield, control comes back here, number gets assigned, gets printed, for loop iteration completes, and it is asking for a next value. So here you go. So when it asks for the next value, we jumped back in the previous iteration from this statement. So the control remembers, the program logic remembers that the program pointer was set at this point. Now it is incrementing the value. It is still, for loop is still waiting because we have not yield returned for this iteration. So here now it will return the value, and now it gets the number. So let's see what's the number value here. It is 5, and now it became 7. So, and now it's printing it now. So now you see the big difference between the normal for loop, which with a ready-made collection, and using a real returned. I hope you like the video, guys. Please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. And if you have any questions, paste it in the comments. I will reply as soon as possible. Thank you.